Africa isn't Africa's real name. Before it was Africa, it was called Alkebulan, meaning Mother of Mankind or Garden of Eden. Yeah, sounds way more epic than Africa, right?
Eurocentric narratives that downplay Alkebulan's role in civilizations.
It's all about Alkebulan, aka Africa.
Picture this, a land rich in culture, heritage, and civilization. Welcome to Alkebulan, the ancient name for Africa.
But that's not what our ancestors called it. The original name was Alkebulan, so what happened to it?
Before European explorers arrived, the ancient name for the continent was Alkebulan.
Before it was called Africa, many believe the continent was called Alkebulan. But
what is its original name then? The true name of Africa before it was renamed by Romans is Alkebulan. Alkebulan, the oldest known name of the continent we now call Africa. In Arabic, it meant land of the blacks.
Alkebulan. It sounds like a wonderful name. They say it's the original name for Africa. Depending on who you ask, it can mean the Garden of Eden, which is cool, or even the Land of Sunshine, the Spirit of Horror, which is less cool, and even the Land of Blacks, which is a little bit racist. It sounds great, but unfortunately, this is another example of people being ashamed to be black, so someone rewrites history and others just copy it. Let's break it down. It's said to be an Arabic term, but these aren't Arabic words. I'm no expert, but al is a prefix, so the word would be Kebulan, which doesn't exist. Even if it did, why would an Arabic word be used by indigenous people in Africa if the Roman Empire predates the spread of Islam in the region? The actual first use of Alkebulan was by a French cosmographer and explorer named André Thevet. In his book Cosmography Universal, he writes, having described the kingdoms, provinces, mountains, rivers, gulfs, and promontories of this part of the world, which we call Africa, the Greeks called Libya, and the Arabs called Alkebulan. You may be thinking you got me, but he wrote that in 1575. That's the first usage we have of the word. It was a term some people were trying to get to pop off back then, but obviously it didn't work. He wrote it in a way of, you won't believe what they're calling Africa. Now, before you get mad at me, let me cook and I'll tell you exactly why the term got popular. In 1972, saxophonist Jimmy Heath dropped an album and he called it The Gap Sealer. The final track on the album, Alkebulan, aka The Land of Blacks. Where did he get the name? I don't know Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop personally, never got to meet him. He was an incredible historian with universities and libraries throughout Africa named after him. But they're out here lying on his name. They attribute the quote from André Thevet to him. They're using plagiarism and his reputation to push a narrative that isn't his. Unfortunately, he died in 1986 and can't even defend himself. Now, there was a man named Yosef Ben Jochannan who published a book in 1972 called Black Man of the Nile and His Family, which states, among the many names, Alkebulan, the mother of mankind or Garden of Eden, was called the following: Ethiopia, CORPHYE, ORTEGIA, Libya, and Africa. The latest of all, Alkebulan is the oldest and the only one in indigenous origin. It was used by the Moors, Nubians, Numidians, Carthagenians, and Ethiopians. Africa, the current misnomer adopted by almost everyone today, was given to this continent by the ancient Greeks and Romans. Now, have you seen other videos on this topic? That quote sounds familiar. It's the exact same quote they all use. They're just copying each other's homework, getting AI to read the script, and they can't even be bothered to cross-reference their sources. Using the name Africa is just another form of white supremacy according to these videos, so where do they say the name Africa came from? They say the name Africa comes from a European explorer named Louis Africanus, a European in Africa before the Roman Empire, and he named the whole continent. That's a French and German name at a time when those cultures were not mingling because Rome had them in a headlock. To top it all off, if you search for Louis Africanus, there's nothing except the stupid myth of Africa being named after some random melanin deficient dude. I'm not trying to preach to you, I'm just trying to give you the large picture. The thing is, Africa is massive and so many people have lived there. Even in ancient times, there were always thousands of different cultures and languages. Nubians, Carthagenians, Ethiopians, Romans, Greeks, and Europeans have all been all throughout the continent, and they all called it something different, but the name Africa was first used by the Carthagenians to describe the area in which they lived in. So we in fact do know where the name came from. The name was adopted by the Greeks and Romans because as they traveled further into the continent, they thought Africa is big. I've said it before in other videos, but again, I think these people are ashamed of our history. So they make up these ridiculous stories because their self-worth is so low they can't find any pride in what our people have persevered through. It's sad, but on another level, it's dangerous the way they mislead people.